Right, hello there everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV. Let me take me gigs off because I'm looking like a 4-ass fool. Anyway, big news, and this is not speculative. This is not Mr. Italian journalist who is supposedly reliable is saying that we've signed someone. We've signed someone. Fabrizio Romano confirms it that we've signed Gakpo from PSV. Because I turned the camera on straight away to give my thoughts on what I think of this signing. Will the player be good? Is it value for money? I don't even know how much we've signed him for. I don't know the weekly fee. I'll talk about these details in upcoming videos. Not to mention, we've just beat Aston Villa, by the way. Great win, but I'm going to talk about Gakpo. This is huge news based on the fact that it comes out of the blue. It comes out of nowhere like an RKO from Randy Orton himself. They've done this with Fabinho. They've done this plenty of times where they've signed a player without us really knowing. Man United with a heavily linked team with Gakpo, then we go in and sign him. Fabinho, everyone was linked with Fabinho in Europe, and then we were the ones who signed him. So, based on a statement, based on an element of something to prove from the board, from the club as a whole, this is a statement signing. Is it the signing that I would have chose? Oh no, here comes negative James. It wouldn't have been my number one, but he has the key fundamentals to be a good player that Klopp can develop over time, and then hopefully he turns out to be not Sadio Mane, because you can't expect to have another Sadio Mane, but something along those lines. Not to mention we've also got Luis Diaz. What's one thing that I like most is squad depth. It's the element of someone who can push players in their positions. Now, Gakpo, I don't know excessively about his versatility. From what I've seen, he's a left winger. Is he better than Luis Diaz? No. From what I've seen, he might come to the Premier League, look boss, and there was loads of things that I didn't notice based on highlight reels and the few games that I've saw him play for PSV in European competitions and whatnot. That being said, and the World Cup. That being said, squad depth is essential. And Gakpo to push Luis Diaz when he's not in form or when he's injured is absolutely huge. And not to mention, it's a big chance for Gakpo to come to the Premier League, join a team that's going to absolutely adore him. Because let's be honest, if he goes to Man United, he's setting himself up for failure. Furthermore, I know Ten Hag and stuff, but we don't know the end product with Ten Hag, whereas 9 times out of 10, we know the end product with Jurgen Klopp, at least in the Premier League. We know he improves players, we know he does these things. Ten Hag done the same thing at Ajax, but Man United haven't done the same thing with their players. And Man United have got a lot of things to solve before Gakpo could join United and then have a decent career. They've got a team that they need to build. Liverpool have also got a team that we need to build in this current moment, as I'm sure me, you, everyone watching this video wants to win trophies in the short term. If we are going to win trophies in the short term, we need squad depth. Therefore, I am happy with the signing of Gakpo. I don't know if he's going to come in and become a main man. He doesn't need to. He's young. He can prove himself over time. And this is what I wouldn't have minded about Nunes if we signed Nunes, is that if we bought in someone else with a bit more experience, out-and-out number 9, proper quality, just an out there example, like Lewandowski. I know we couldn't sign Lewandowski, but just an out there example. Just someone there who can prove something right now, who can help us compete right now. That's brilliant. I think Luis Diaz is good enough to start for Liverpool. I don't know if Gakpo is. But is Gakpo good enough to sit on the bench? Absolutely. So I like the signing. I like the fact that we're doing shit without us fans knowing. Also goes to emphasise, which I say on every transfer news that I do, don't listen to these journalists. 9 times out of 10, they're chatting crap. A lot of them do really good work to come up with these articles. A lot of them do lazy work to come up with these articles. That being said, 9 times out of 10, they're just simply untrue. And Liverpool move in silence, and they've done that again. That's my opinion on the signing. I'd love to hear what you all think of the signing in the comments down below. And I suppose now I'll touch on the game, which, as I had I had the gym right after the game, essentially, so I couldn't do a match reaction straight away, nor could I do a watch along because my live equipment messed up again. We'll sort that, though. It's my laptop. I'll sort it. That being said, the game itself, sound, win, decent performance. Was it perfect? No. Does it need to be? No, because 3 points need to be on the board. We're now 1 point behind Man United. They've got a game in hand, but in comparison to a few weeks ago when we were 5 points and 6 points, it's not too shabby, Alonso, therefore I'll take it. I thought Oxlade-Chamberlain playing at left wing was the main talking point. Didn't think he played great. I didn't think he played bad, just didn't think he played great. He done a job. Thank God we signed Gakpo. Anyway, then Nunes, I've had a lot of people talk to me on Twitter about my opinions on Nunes. Now, I want to get one thing very, very clear. In fact, no, I'm going to rate the rest of the performance before I talk about Nunes. but it's because it's the most controversial opinion I seem to have on this channel, hence why I always talk about Núñez. But I'll talk about Salah's goal. Beautiful. Robertson with the record amount of assists. Beautiful. Van Dijk with a goal. Great. And all round, the performance was better. Fabinho was better. The midfield was more cohesive. Now, Aston Villa weren't great, but all round, sound. And then you've got Besiktas, who came on and got a goal. It was beautiful. That's a short analysis. We'll talk about it more in depth as time goes by. But Núñez, again, with a average performance off the back of a really bad performance against Man City. Now, I don't like the idea of abusing people, and the abuse that I have received over my constructive critical opinions over recent days and weeks. In fact, since before Núñez signed, I had my doubts. Before we signed him, I said he weren't technically great, and I don't think he elevates us from where we was last season, which was second to first. And I still feel like that in a moment where we've not got a great team, but think about strikers of the past: Suarez, Torres, Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen. These are players who also played in underperforming Liverpool teams, but were still world class and still couldn't win us trophies. How was Núñez the man to come in and replace whoever he was replacing and be the man to win us trophies, which for 85 million you would expect? I don't think he was ever that. Liverpool fans assumed he was. Now he's getting a lot of shit from neutrals and stuff like that. And I have people saying to me, oh, you're a wanker because you're fueling the neutrals. No, it's my honest opinion. I'm not coming out here and saying Núñez is a goofball or a horrible player. I'm talking about his on-the-ball ability and if I think he's good enough to take us to league titles. Now, people talk about threat. If you want threat, get Timo Werner. Timo Werner is also someone who can run in behind, get chances, but misses a fair share. Needs 5 or 6 to be able to get the ball in the back of the net. And look how that turns out. Oh, and by the way, we were linked with Timo Werner. So we've always looked at that profile of player. So don't look at me and say, James, you're horrible because you compare Werner to Núñez. They're very similar. They're both quick. They're both running behind. They're both average finishers. But they can get goals on the premise that if you give them space, they'll get that. They won't get that in the Premier League. And as Núñez plays, let's say even if he does add goals to his game, which it's not even just about numbers, which is what pisses me off, over time he'll get caught out. 2 or 3 men will mark him and stuff like that. Same way they did with Werner. And then he'll have to fuck off back to Portugal. Because maybe that's just his level. Now, the case isn't closed on Núñez. He might be decent for Liverpool as an option. I am very confident in saying he'll never be good enough to be a major influence on us winning the league title. That's just how I feel. Unless we have 10 absolutely elite world-class players around him, which right now we have a lot of underperforming world-class players right now. So it's one of those things where we need a transition. Núñez is for me not going to be good enough at any point to be the main man in a team that's winning league titles week in, week out. He doesn't have a first touch, and at 22 that's not going to improve. He doesn't have great passing, which at 22 can only get so much better. Doesn't have much better finishing, but decision making can improve in the way that he finishes, the timing of his finish. But the way he releases the ball isn't all that. It's hit and hope, it's power. Kind of like Erling Haaland, but Erling Haaland has got the precision. Núñez doesn't. It's head down, toes through the ball, let's hope for the best. And that's why he misses so many chances. Not just hitting it right at the goalkeeper, but sending it wide. Let me take you back to the West Ham game where he missed a lot of chances. Let me take you back to the Southampton game where he missed a few chances. Yeah, he might get the odd goal out of the 5 he gets. But that is very much the definition of a liability. Someone who, yet sometimes can work, but sometimes can't. If I gave you an Xbox, we all live with the PS5s and the Xboxes. If I gave you an Xbox and said, right, you only have to pay 30 quid for this Xbox, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Do you think that's good value for money? Yes, it's 30 quid for an Xbox, this, that and the other. But if you want to play on that very same Xbox on a Friday with your mate John and it breaks down, even though I gave you the warning that it breaks down, that's not ideal. Because you've made plans with your mate John to say, I want to play the Xbox. What does that make the Xbox? A liability, and it's the same correlation here with Núñez. He might be good, he might be decent to running behind against Southampton, against Aston Villa, and get a chance that Besiktas can get on the end of, or scoring 4 goals against Leipzig in pre-season. But is he good enough to take a Liverpool team that went to the Champions League final, missed out because they didn't have the star quality man, and he be that star quality man? He hasn't proven it to this point in his career. I don't think he's proven it so far. And people mistake this constructive criticism for hate or whatever. James, why are you writing him off? Why are you doubting Jurgen Klopp? Look at the stats. If you just only look at stats and ignore eye test completely, it's not all about eye test. Oh, James, you're an eye test merchant. It's not all about eye test. But if you look at only stats, it can go very wrong. Andy Carroll is a prime example. I'm not saying Núñez and Carroll are the same player. I'm just saying he's a prime example. That if you only look at numbers, it can go wrong. And then if you combine that with if you combine Núñez's numbers and then you combine the eye test, he's just an okay player. Why are we accepting just okay? That's my issue. That's the only thing where I'm sitting there and saying, oh, I don't know about this. Then people say you're hating, or people say, oh, he's going to get better with time. The things that he's bad at, he doesn't really get better with. The only thing that he can get better with is decision making. He's been here for a few weeks now. I don't know. Maybe it would have clicked in by now a bit more. And again, he will continue to get the constructive criticism based on the standards that have been set by our own fan base. It's your fault that I'm saying this. If we all had the same simultaneous recognition that Núñez is not the finished product, and a lot of us didn't compare him to Haaland, and a lot of us didn't say he was one of the best strikers that we could have got on the market, then fine, I can align with maybe him being a decent striker who's not quite ready yet, but might be ready in future. But everyone was saying he was ready right now. Hasn't proven that to this point. I doubted it before he moved in, but now I'm creating or fueling the neutrals to hate on Núñez. Absolutely piss off, you fools. Don't talk to me about me fueling nobody. I come on here to give you my honest opinion, and I do get rattled sometimes, admittedly so, about like people who have a go at me and misunderstand what I say, or try and create a narrative for themselves that I'm hating on someone. It's constructive. I don't like Núñez's playing style. I don't think it improves us, so therefore I don't think he's going to be the man going forward that's going to take us to titles. All remains to be seen, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. And again, if you want to give me shit, go for it. I mean, it's the YouTube game. I actually don't mind being given shit. But if I was talking to a person face to face, and the point was to engage and to have a debate, and they weren't giving me no logical points besides stats, you would see red steam coming out of my eardrums. You just would. So that's my point of view on everything. I've rambled on for ages on this video, so I'll leave you all to it. But we signed Gakpo. That's massive. And guys, make sure you smash a like on this video and let me know if you think I'm a bullshit Liverpool fan, because I have just my very own opinion on Darwin Núñez. Let me know. Anyway, guys, much love. And and last point that I was going to make before is that everyone says Jurgen Klopp always gets it right. 8 out of 10 times he gets it right. But it doesn't mean he gets it right 100% of the time, and that's due to the fact he's not the only one who decides transfers, he's not the only one who has influence, and he's not the one who can sit there week in, week out and watch these players week in, week out and identify each individual aspect. He's got to take trust in his scouting team, which is why I don't just point this at Jurgen, I point this at the scouting team. And Jurgen Klopp has got things like, I don't know, Karius wrong. And if you want to say it's Klopp who got that wrong or the scouting team, up to you. But he got that wrong, he's got a few other things wrong. He's not perfect. The difference with Karius and Núñez is Núñez was 85 million, Karius was 4. The risk and reward factor was a lot different. If Núñez goes wrong, and that was Karius losing us a Champions League. If Núñez goes wrong, if he misses a one-on-one in the Champions League final, it's you guys who are going to be angry. It's probably some people who tune into this video who'll go and give Núñez shit. And then I'm the one who'll be sitting there saying, I feel dead sorry for Núñez because he's getting death threats. We saw it with Karius, so it's not ludicrous for me to say. Death threats, he's feeling shit, he never recovered. Ruined a man's career because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. This is why I try and keep realistic expectations for these players, because if I set them high now and then he does shit, I'll be fine with it because I'm a logical person who won't just give people shit based on a footballing mistake. But people watching this video will. The internet will. Social media will. That affects people's lives. And I think about the long term way before it even gets there. Rightly or wrongly, that's what I do. And I see that with Núñez already. And because I don't want that for him, and people say, oh, James, you don't like Núñez, I come out here and I give me open opinion. If I was lying to you about how I felt about Núñez, then what's the point of me having a YouTube channel? You know what I mean? But guys, let me know everything about that I've talked in this video. Please write to Gakpo, and I'll see you later.